Okay, guys, so I'm looking at our schedule for today, and hopefully you've already watched announcements, done the quick write, which does involve a little bit of more writing than some of you have been giving me. I'm still getting one-word responses, so hopefully your letter includes a couple sentences explaining, at least a couple sentences explaining um, how, like, what you think Maddie should do, okay, and giving her advice. Practice your vocabulary words. Hopefully, you've written your context clue sentence for the day. And now we're here. And if you've not done any of those things or all of those things, then make sure before you move on with the rest of the day, you go back and finish these, okay? We don't want to get too far behind. Okay, so what's next? You guys are going to do your vocabulary weekly check with the suffix Y. And then you're going to head over to actually the preposition slide will be there, but let's just do the lesson now because we're here and we can talk about it. So what we did this week, what are we learning about this week? Okay, we've talked about prepositions and we've talked about how prepositions can be used to tell where, right? And it's a good way to elaborate your sentences, to add on to your sentences is with the prepositions and their phrases. So what I've done is we've got the first model sentence here that we've used all week long. She tucked her beak beneath her wing. And then I've changed something very small. She tucked her beak beneath her wing. Now, hopefully you've noticed it. I tried to read it quickly because I'm afraid it's going to stand out so obviously, right? But you hopefully noticed that the word her has now turned into the word here, right? So why do I bring this up? Well, because a lot of times, guys, when we just change, add, or leave out a letter, it changes the whole word and therefore the whole meaning of your sentence, right? And then it doesn't make sense for the reader, and they stumble and it interrupts their fluency because they're trying to figure out what did you really mean to say, right? So I want you guys to be aware of that when you're doing your writing. Some of your seesaw writing things too, just one letter being left out, being added in, it can change your whole meaning. Okay, so just being aware of that. All right, let's look at this one. She tucked her beak beneath her wing. What do you guys notice there? So hopefully you notice that the verb is no longer past tense, but in this situation, it is not even in the present tense, right? It doesn't sound right. She tucked her beak up beneath her wing. That's not how we talk. It doesn't sound right. So if we wanted it to be in the present tense, we would need to add an S to the end of tuck. She tucks her beak beneath her wing. Of course, if we wanted it to be past tense, we would add that ed ending. And if it's going to be in the future, we would say she will tuck her beak beneath her wing. Okay, so again, one letter or a couple letters changes the whole meaning of your sentence. All right, and the last one. She tucked her beak under her wing. What do you notice? That one sounds okay. It looks right. This one's not quite as obvious because there's not anything wrong with it. All I've done was used a synonym for my preposition. Still using a preposition, the word under is a preposition, right? But it's just a synonym, something different. And so it changes a little bit of the flow of the writing, the fluency of the sentence. Beneath is a two-syllable word, under still a two-syllable word. It just changes just barely anything, and you probably didn't notice it because it being a synonym doesn't change the meaning of the sentence at all. Right? So it's just something that you might notice. When would we try this in our writing? This would come at what part of the writing stages? In revision, right? When we go back and change out some words and Um, Usually by replacing words with synonyms is a good way to do that. Okay, so that's our PoP lesson for today. We've been talking about prepositions, and we're at the point now where we're going to be able to start labeling sentences. I'm not going to call it diagramming sentences. That's the kind of stuff like your parents and I did when we were in school. But we will start labeling sentences, and I've shown you a little bit about that throughout the year. Um, but this way, now that we know all of our parts of speech and we can identify the different words, it's going to be a lot easier. So we're going to be moving into that area next. That'll be fun. Okay, and then next, guys, we're getting ready to do words their way. So I'm going to stop this video, let you go back, do your quiz for vocabulary and do all that, get caught up with anything that you need to. And then when it's time to start words their way, you will head to this page in the module.